Alright guys, here we go. I'm going to try to review everything in Algebra 2 Chapter 2 in under 10 minutes. Going to go quick. If you can't keep up, just pause the video anytime you need. Alright, these are all the questions you're going to need. So for the first one, alright, we need to subtract these two terms. So the trick to this is very easy. Take this subtraction sign and turn it into addition and then distribute the negative. So once that's a plus, I change the sign of everything in parentheses. So I make that a negative, I make that a positive, and then I make that a negative. Then all I have to do is put it in descending order, which is highest exponent to smallest. Alright, so the first one I see is 3x cubed. There's no other cube, so I just put 3x cubed. Alright, then after that, the next one I see is squared. There's no other x squared, so minus 3x squared. Alright, then I gotta start combining like terms. So I have a plus negative 1x here, right? So negative 1x plus 9x is going to be 8x. So I end up with plus 8x. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to add 14 and negative 4. 14 minus 4 is 10. So that would be the answer. You cannot add terms that aren't the same. They have to have the same value of x. Alright, so now we're going to go on to this one right here. So I have x to the third times x to the power of 6. Really important rule that's really easy. When you multiply exponents, you add them. So 3 plus 6 is 9. So you get x to the power of 9. This one is different. This is x to the power of 3 to the power of 6. So when you have a power to a power, then we're going to multiply. So this one would be 3 times 6, which is x to the power of 18. Alright, next one. This is how you simplify imaginary number exponents. Okay, so we have I to the power of 1 equals I squared equals negative 1, I to the third equals negative I, and I to the fourth equals 1. So how do you simplify numbers that are this big? There's a trick. It's very easy. Just divide by 4. So if I do 27 divided by 4, alright, let's do it. So 4 goes into 27. How close can we get? 4 times 7 would be 28. Can't do that. So we got to go in 6 times. So if I go in 6 times, okay, I get minus 24, and I get a remainder of 3. Okay, anytime, all you have to do is look at the remainder. If you have no remainder, alright, it is going to be I. If you have a remainder of 1, you get I squared. Alright, this one is a remainder of 3, so it would be negative I. Alright, so we're going to keep moving. On this one, alright, if I need to convert this to radical form, alright, this is called exponential form. I'm just going to put expon, alright, and I want to convert it to radical form. Alright, it's very easy. Radical form just means it has a radical. So I'm going to draw a radical and then follow bow tie. Bow tie means bottom, outside, top, inside. So first of all, you take the 4 and you put it outside. Alright, then we're going to put the x inside. Okay, so bottom, outside, top, inside. So the bottom number is going to go on the outside, 8 is going to go on the outside, and 6 is going to go on the inside. Thank you, Mr. Bowtie. So bottom, outside, top, inside. Alright, so now we got a division problem. So remember, when we multiply exponents, we add. When you divide exponents, you subtract. So this would actually end up being, okay, the x's are going to stay. Alright, so we have to do 1/2 minus 1/4. So how do we do that? We need to have the same terms in order to combine, right? So we need to convert 1/2 into fourths, right? So how do we do that? 4 times what is, or 2 times what is 4? Times 2. So we're going to multiply the top and bottom by 2 over 2, and we get 2/4. So then I'm going to end up with 2/4 minus 1/4, and I get 1/4. So the answer would be x to the power of 1/4. Not too bad. Alright, so going to keep moving, going fast. So another one you'll see a lot is it'll say simplify this. So if you're going to simplify, alright, what you need to do is get rid of this I in the bottom. So how do we do that? It's very easy. We got to multiply the top and bottom, alright, by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply this by 2 plus 8i, and I'm going to multiply the top by 2 plus 8i, and that's going to get rid of that I, because if you remember, if we go back to our little chart, alright, I squared is negative 1. So if I multiply that I times I, it's going to get rid of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the top first. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, and then we just can't have an I on the bottom. And then 4 times 8 is 32. So we get 8 plus 32i. All right, and then on the bottom, we're going to get rid of that I. So on the bottom, what we're going to do is FOIL. So here we go, let's FOIL. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus, all right, 2 times 8i is 16i. All right. Shoot, I forgot. All right, we're all human. You got to actually multiply by the negative because we want to get rid of that thing on the bottom. So we have to have that as a negative. So very easy mistake. All right, so that's actually going to become negative 32i. All right, so from here, 2 times 2 is still 4. All right, and then 2 times negative 8i is negative 16i. All right, here's why we multiply by the negative. We want these i's to cancel. All right, so then we're going to multiply 8 times 2i, and we're going to get 8i times 2, sorry, and we get positive 16i. And then we're going to multiply 8i times 8i, which is 64i squared. Okay, so here we go. Very easy. Negative 16, positive 16 is gone, so we're left with 4 plus or minus. All right, so what is I squared? I squared equals negative 1, right? So 64 times negative 1 is negative 64. So you end up with negative 64 plus 4, which is simply negative 60. So we end up with that. 8 minus 32i over negative 60. All right, we're going to keep on keeping on, like Joe Dirt. All right, for this one, it says simplify, okay? This one is just foiling again, so very easy. All right, all we do is we take the first number, distribute it, just like we did last time. X times x squared. All right, there's a 1 there that we can't see. When we multiply, we add. So 1 plus 2 is 3. X to the power of 3. Then we're going to keep distributing. X times 5. All right, so 1 times 5 is 5. So we know the number in front is going to be 5, right? Okay, then 1 plus 1 is 2. So we get 5x squared. All right, and then we distribute to the last number, plus 2x. All right, then we're going to distribute the second number. So I'm going to make a plus negative. So we got negative 2 times x is negative 2x squared. All right, then we got negative 2 times 5 is negative 10x. Sorry, it was 5x. And then lastly, we have negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So now what we're going to do is just combine like terms and put in descending order. So biggest variable is third. There's no other power to the third. So we got x to the third. All right, and then we have 5x squared and we have negative 2x squared, right? So I like to cross them out as I go. So 5 minus 2 is 3. So we end up with plus 3x squared. All right, so then after that we got our x's. So I see a 2x and a negative 10x, right? Negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8, so we got minus 8x. And then lastly, we have our negative 4. So that would be the answer. You just combine like terms and put it in descending order. Remember, descending order means that the largest exponent, which would be 3, and it goes 3, 2, 1, even though we can't see it, 0. That's descending order. All right, second last question we got to go over. All right, so square root of x times square root of x times the square root of x. All right, guys, so for this one, when we have the square root symbol, there's actually a 2 here and a 1 here. So all we have to do is put these in exponential form. So if I put them in exponential form, Mr. Bowtie, it's the opposite. They would all look like this. So x to the 1/2 times x to the 1/2 times x to the 1/2, right? So remember, when we multiply exponents, we add them, right? So all you have to do is 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5 would be x to the power of 1.5 or 3 over 2. However you want to write it. All right, last question we're going to go over for this chapter. So